Hey everyone, Jack here, TalkNorwichCity back for another video. Hope you guys are all very well. I hope you guys have been enjoying the daily content this week. That looks set to continue, so strap yourselves in. A really busy time for Norwich City at the moment, certainly during this week with the cup competition and of course Premier League football on Saturday. And it's Leicester City at Carrow Road up next for Norwich City. Back once again to preview that game. As always, a big thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this match preview and match reaction content. You can download OneFootball down in the description below using the link. It helps me out. And OneFootball is a genuinely really good app. I've used it for years. So it's an added bonus that they now sponsor it. You get all of the latest news, results, analysis, facts, match predictions on there. It's a really good app. And I've gone on there today to look at some little bits of trivia surrounding Norwich against Leicester. We've actually got a really good record against Leicester. We've lost just one of our last 7 home meetings with Leicester. That was back in 2015. And of course, our final win of the normal Premier League season before Project Restart was against Leicester. That brilliant Jamal Lewis goal. And I think, had we beat Leicester, then beat Spurs, and then it just all went to pot. I remember that night at Carrow Road. It was a Friday night, and I got the train back, and I sat on that train, and I thought, my goodness, Norwich City have a chance of survival here. How wrong I was. OneFootball, as I say, down in the description below. A big thank you to them, and I know a lot of you love the app, so that's great. Look, this is a really fascinating fixture for Norwich City this weekend. We come into it off the back of 2 straight crushing Premier League defeats, and, you know, read into them how you wish. I'm not reading into them too much. It's Liverpool and Manchester City, the Premier League champions, and the Premier League champions the year before. That's a difficult start, the hardest start you can possibly get. Yes, the performance against Manchester City wasn't good enough. Daniel Farke and the rest of the squad know that. But you still have to take it with a pinch of salt. You then back that up with a 6-0 win over Bournemouth, where we looked fantastic and our new signings were scoring. It was free-flowing and it was back to the best kind of Daniel Farke football. And you come into this game somehow with a bit of expectation. I am, and the people I've spoken to have. Maybe I'm being slightly naive here. With that being said, Leicester are a top 4 chasing side. They've got a brilliant squad. And I think, because we're coming into this off the back of a 6-0 win. They're coming into this off the back of a 4-1 defeat to West Ham. Iosi Perez got sent off. They've got a couple of injury scares. Suddenly, the mindset has shifted somewhat. And I spoke to a good friend earlier who messaged me and said, why are Leicester even money? Like, should I be kind of getting on this? And I said, well, it's probably a little bit overpriced, but you have to take into consideration Norwich City will be throwing absolutely everything at this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come away with a point or all 3 points. I think Farke will know that this is a relatively big game back in front of the Carrow Road crowd. He wants a reaction from Manchester City, and what you don't want to be doing is going into the winnable games. Watford coming up in a couple of weeks. I mean, even Arsenal is suddenly a game that you probably expecting, well, not expecting something from, but targeting points from, which seems really weird to say. What you don't want to be going into them games is off the back of 3 straight defeats, and then suddenly there's a bit of pressure on them games, and you want to be minimising pressure throughout this season. You don't want to be heaping pressure onto you going into Watford off the back of, let's say, 4 straight defeats. You want to just chip away at that 40-point total. Just get there slowly. Just keep chipping away. Points here, points there. And then in no time at all, hopefully you'll have the points you require to stay in the division. I think that the team selection is going to be fascinating as well. Before Daniel Farke's press conference, I would have definitely said Tzolis, or Tzolis, I believe the pronunciation is now, Christos Tzolis, who of course scored twice, and Josh Sargent scored twice as well. You're looking at them two and going, they have to start. Now, Farke has said that Tzolis has calf problems and Josh Sargent has glute problems. Now, whether that's playing up to the media slightly. We shall see come 2 o'clock tomorrow. But that's not the news you want to be hearing going into Leicester, because if they're fully fit, then they definitely start for me. Now, whether Daniel Farke thinks the same thing is a different question. I suspect Pukki will probably start, and I want to get away from the mindset of Pukki's not good enough to start. This is a man who scored, 70 goals in just over 100 games in 3 seasons. He's a phenomenal goal scorer who scored goals at this level before and will continue to score goals at this level. I just think he's looked slightly off the pace in the last couple of weeks, and that's not really his fault. He's had COVID, he's in a ridiculously demanding domestic and international schedule. So if Sargent's fit, Sargent starts for me. If Tzolis is fit, Tzolis starts for me. The other interesting complexion with this squad is how you play in the midfield. We've gone with 2 central midfielders and a sitting midfielder. Of course, last season we just had the 2 midfielders and then 3 in behind the strike. We played a 4-2-3-1. That's usually what Farke has done over his reign at Norwich City. We're kind of going for a 4-1. Hang on, 4-1-2-2-1. Is that 11? I'm going all Chris Reeve. That might be 12. Anyway, we've been packing out the middle of the park and then kind of sacrificing a number 10. Do you do that against Leicester? I mean, Leicester have, a fantastic strike force and attack, and you've got Maddison in there, and you've got Vardy in there, and you've got a whole host of great talent. I just don't know if we've necessarily looked good enough going forwards. I mean, Rashica's not been terrible. I mean, it's been difficult, hasn't it? I find it interesting the way that Farke approaches the formation tomorrow. I don't think Lucas Roop should be starting. There's 3 players, if fully fit, start for me on Saturday. Kenny McLean, Josh Sargent, Christos Tzolis. And then the defence kind of picks itself. The goalkeeper picks itself. I think Todd Cantwell is probably the other player who definitely starts. Billy Gilmore, Pierre-Le Malou. Look, there's opportunity for Daniel Farke, and that's what you want. You want the tough decisions to be made in terms of who to drop rather than, oh my God, we haven't got enough players to start. And I think Farke has got options, which feels positive. Of course, you've got a left-back question here as well with Brandon Williams or Dimitri Yanoulis. When you think about it, there's actually a lot going on, and I don't think Daniel Farke, having seen that game on Tuesday, quite knows his finest starting 11 in the Premier League. So I can't wait to see the team news. I genuinely think Norwich have got a chance here. Maybe not for all 3 points, but I think a point should be the aim, and then you build off that. We want to be seeing the defence tightened up slightly. We've given up too many chances. You can't do that in this division. And just a few more chances created. I think we'll have the ability to do that. Having watched Leicester against West Ham, they gave up a lot of chances in that game. Hopefully we can get a few shots away, and hopefully we can score our first Premier League goal of the season. Look, I'm not expecting much. I want a good performance, but we have to constantly gain perspective here. The fact that Leicester are a very good side, and yes, they have just been beaten by West Ham, but they are still top 4 contenders. So, yeah, a lot going on. Let me know what team you would start. I've said mine in the podcast. If you haven't said that, then go back and watch that. But for me, Tzolis, Sargent, Kenny McLean, if fit, start. If they don't, well, that's a shame. Thanks to OneFootball. Thanks to all of our other sponsors. We'll be back tomorrow on Saturday for a matchday experience. Cannot wait for that one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.